even criticize Bishop on this. I want to back up and give him kudos for the wherewithal, the
gumption,
the intestinal fortitude to put up with this growing tear and play as well as he did in the finals. And he did play exceptionally well.
And it was a major tear from what I've been finding out lately.
But to come out and field that puck was completely unnecessary.
Very.
You know, Hedman had the angle on it against Patrick Sharp.
Yep.
And if you are going to come out and commit to it, and that's the problem when you're goaltending. I mean, as a goaltender, you know, you come out.
Did you goaltend?
I did. I don't know if you were aware of that.
Oh, God.
But as a goaltender, there are times when you'll go to handle the puck, and all of a sudden you have that oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Where you go out and you're like, man, but you're already committed. So now you gotta finish.
You gotta do something, no matter if it makes you look like an ass or not.
You're not skating backward at that point.
No.
But you can call off the defenseman and tell him that you're skating up. And clearly he didn't communicate with Hedman. Who
it looked right. Being there and watching it as opposed to TV. It was surreal. It was very odd. When he went out, it's almost like everything slowed down, and the crash was slow. And then Patrick Sharp going in was like, as soon as he crashed into Hedman, I put my head down.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Well, you
watch
knew
the
it was
goal.
going to happen. Yeah. And you're right. Even the Sharp goal.
It was odd.
Was in slow motion.
The whole thing.
Yeah. You notice how he
it was so lax.
Sharp really made sure that he had that puck on his stick. Like, he kind of positioned it around on his stick. Like, he took his sweet time.
Oh, he had plenty of it. Nobody was there.
Well, but you could tell he was like, there is no way in hell I'm going to miss this net. And so he really took his time with it, way more so than in practice. He wouldn't even shoot it like that. He wouldn't even think about it that way. But the Lightning, look, I will say this. When it comes to this series, first time for the Lightning all year that they lost 3 in a row.
Yep.
But I will say this. We should be proud. It's disappointing, clearly, that they went this far and that they lost. But Lightning fans, you need to hold your head up high in this. I made this analogy, and maybe it's a bit ambitious, but look, the Edmonton Oilers, the first time they went to the finals, they got their ass handed to them by the New York Islanders.
Yeah, they did.
They went on to win 4 straight. They went on to win 6 within about a 10-year span. So, and not to say that the Lightning certainly aren't going to, I seriously doubt they'd win 4 straight. But sometimes you have to learn to lose to learn to win.
Yep.
And there's no reason to be ashamed as Lightning fans. It's events like this, and we talked about this before, that galvanize additional fan support. The community is even more behind them now than they were. And that was already we already had a ton of support for this team. Now it's the off season. Kudos to the Blackhawks, because you are talking about what amounts to a modern-day dynasty. I know it's 3 in 6 years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I wanted to get your take on this, but you got to consider this. But I'm gonna ask. I want your take on it, but you have to consider the fact that
in the new age,
thank
I'll
you,
give
with
you
the
that.
salary cap being what it is, you got to consider it a dynasty. Do you not, Ming?
Yeah, I'll give you that, because like we were talking about last week, player retention is not there anymore. You get players there for maybe 5 years. Sometimes you get a guy to go the distance, like a Marty Brodeur or something like that. But obviously, he stems from the old age, So, dynasty, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I almost kind of want to say it, because they were they showed the resilience of champions in this year.
Well, and you got to take into account how deep they've gone in the years they haven't gone to the finals too. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And it's like they came and they started the season fairly low in the playoffs, and they worked their way back. I mean, they were getting handed to them last versus the Ducks, and they came back. So the resiliency they showed was impressive, and I will give them the dynasty credit. Hey, Chucky!
That was definitely a tough
Superfan
road.
Chucky's here.
Superfan Chucky, who, by the way, congratulations, got his season tickets today. I saw that.
Did you?
Season ticket holder Chucky.
Man, you can go F yourself. How about that, Chucky?
I saw that in the 300 section.
Congratulations. Right? High five to that. I'll buy this guy a beer. Just kidding.
You just want him to take you to the games.
Here we go. Here's the woodwork. Now, how many games you taking to me, says Captain Justin.
Ben, I think you made a great point about you gotta learn to lose before you can learn to win.
Learn to lose.
I think this is going to be great for the fans as well. Tampa fans do get a bad rap. We've had plenty of conversations with our friends about how Tampa fans are obnoxious and all this stuff. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we've only been this far a couple times, and we've won one, we've lost another, and this series was so great, and it's so just the build up to it was awesome. I think as fans we also need to learn how to lose graciously and realize that it's not the end of the world. We've got next year and we've got a couple more years of a strong team. So I think that point goes further than just the team itself. I think it goes to the entire community.
I haven't heard as much as the fans are like unruly as much as there's definitely pockets of fans that are really frigged up.
Oh yeah, well that's
every team has them, but
you're gonna have.
I
it
haven't
everywhere.
heard that as much as I've heard the whole bandwagon thing.
Well, I will say though, with a lot of those fans, we picked up a lot of people here in the community to root for the team that don't fully understand the sport yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's not to slight them. I'm glad they're getting
No,
on
but
board.
I'll gladly drive them to the game if they want to root
Well,
for our
and
team.
I
they're
think
going to learn, but
yeah.
But some of them are going to take this for granted because they don't fully understand just how hard it is. And when you look at any sport and their playoff structure here in North American team sports, there is nothing that is more arduous than a trip to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Not
And
when
you-
you can
especially
look
when
at,
every series
and
goes
don't
7
come to me and
games.
say football's tougher. Don't come to me and
Right.
say baseball's tougher. I will shoot you down every single time.
I mean, with the amount of games that they play, with the injuries that they play through, and you look at the Lightning, how close they were to winning.
who was it? Boychuk during the playoffs? He got hit and broke his leg, or was it?
No, do you?
No. It was for Boston.
Well, Boychuk's not on
No,
Boston
no,
this year.
Well, I'm just saying it was in
Oh, in
years
the past, yeah,
where he
yeah.
took that slap shot to the
Right.
leg and stayed out for a minute and change.
Right.
And, and Johnny Oduya broke his business. Johnson had a broken
Well,
wrist.
Johnson with his wrist injury, and that's the thing is the problem with the Lightning, it wasn't defensively as much as people think it was. It certainly wasn't goaltending in the
Nope.
finals. It was scoring.
Oh, yeah.
When you're losing games by one goal, when really you look at
When you're-
all the games, the most goals Chicago scored were 2 goals.
Well, one of your leading scorers, if not the leading scorer in the whole playoffs, breaks his wrist. What are you going to do with that?
All of a sudden now the defensive pairings are focusing on the Stamkos line.
Yeah.
The triplet line was effectively neutered without Tyler Johnson
Yep.
playing at his best. But you've got some real bright spots with this team. You saw the emergence of Victor Hedman. This was a coming out party for him.
Oh,
Patrick Kane gave him a hell of a compliment. He said that was the toughest guy that's ever defended him in a Stanley Cup playoff.
Yep.
That was a hell of a compliment. You've got the emergence of him, but then you've got these role players, too. You look at guys like J.T. Brown, the way that he played in the playoffs.
He was
unbelievable.
I'm holding my fingers about an inch apart. He was that close the whole time, and God,
He was.
just to see him just turn it on and then dive into that corner. I tell you, another thing. Duncan Keith and played an exceptional series. Deserved that MVP. And if it would have gone the way of the Lightning, Hedman would have got the MVP.
He should have.
Yeah.
The play of guys like Brian Boyle, the play of a guy like Alex Killorn.
Callahan played a great series.
Killorn, before the playoffs started, I would have told you that I thought Killorn might be a casualty of the cap next year. No way. You can't get rid of this guy.
No.
You look at the defensive play, the well-rounded. He is a 3-zone player.
Yep.
And so, that being said, we now go into the offseason. Yzerman has already said that the top priority is restructuring, getting Stamkos under wraps because he's only got one more year left on his deal.
Right.
You're potentially looking at a long-term deal a la what you're seeing with Taves and Kane, where they're 8 to 10-year deals.
And I think he'll surrender a little bit of money to
Hopefully.
be willing to stay under the guidance of
but
Steve
you look
Yzerman.
at Kane and Taves, Miggy, and they're both getting $10 million a year.
Yeah, they're taking a major hit in
So
Chicago
now
this
you're gonna throw the dough at Stammer. Brendan Morrow is an unrestricted free agent. They were paying him $2 million a year. You know,
he's not coming
he's
back.
a great
I hate
he's
to
a
say
great
it.
locker room guy, but you can't afford him at this point. You got to let him go. You look at all the young players. You know, Chad Schnarr, good friend of the show, writer for Bolt Prospects. His closing article about the Lightning. I really encourage anyone that likes hockey that listens to our show, go to boltprospects.com and read this article. When he sums up the last game, he talks about the contributors, he talks about the contracts, and look, Morrow's going to have to go because you've got all these young guys that have earned playing time. Nemesnikov has to play in the NHL. He can't go back to the AHL. You've got Nesterov, the defenseman, has got to play. So, I would really anticipate Matt Carl being dealt in the offseason. You got to save some money there. I know, Bolt Prospects, they really think he's going to go.
I was not impressed with him this whole season.
I wasn't
He had
either.
maybe 2 games where he did well, and What a flop that been. I was really disappointed. I thought he was coming into the season reborn and ready to play a great season. And I saw nothing from him, man.
He made some crucial errors.
Yeah.
But you see, again, Morrow's a completely unrestricted free agent. You've got some restricted free agents in Nemesnikov, who they shouldn't have any problem re-signing. You've also got a few others. I can't remember. Andre Schuster.
Andre Schuster.
I'm
I'm on the fence about Andre because I thought he stepped it up in the playoffs a
He
little
did.
bit
I think
more.
it was a little bit of an emergence for him. And then
Right.
also Mark Barberio was an RFA, and I think Barberio is going to go.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't see it. I mean, I think Nesterov proved this year that he's better than Barberio, that he deserves that playing time. You've got so many guys that could easily step in, and look for Jonathan Drouin next year to make a transformation. All these Lightning fans that they're not patient with Drouin's development, they think that he's a flop or whatever. Look at what Nikita Kucherov did from one year to the next. You look at last year, the play of Kucherov versus this year, where he really emerged as a superstar. This was a coming out party for Nikita Kucherov as well.
Hey.
Second leading scorer, dude. Second leading scorer in the playoffs for the Lightning.
Yes, I was impressed with those guys. It's unfortunate that I remember Tyler Johnson taking a little slash to the arm. Do you remember that when he was wincing that one time?
Right.
I think that's when the an inevitable piece happened that he did get the break, and that's when he stopped taking faceoffs. Was it second game in or first? Maybe even the first game, because he stopped taking faceoffs, and that's when we knew something was wrong, because he was number one faceoff guy in the freaking team.
Caleb made the point about the window. We still got a number of good years with this team, and we do.
Oh,
We
big
really do.
time.
What are your thoughts on the goaltending?
Well, you've got Bishop for one more year under contract at $6 million.
I think he played well.
Yzerman already came out in the news and said that he's not in any rush to anoint Vasilevsky as the heir apparent.
I'm not either.
So I think what you're going to see this upcoming year, look, it's a grind when you're playing 82 games. You're a goaltender. I think now with Vasilevsky, you're going to see the workload somewhat diminish
shift a little
bit.
for Bishop.
Yeah.
So I would anticipate seeing about 50 games for Bishop next year, 50 to 55.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll see about 30 out of Vasilevsky
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think you're going to see. Yeah, I agree. I think you'll probably see about 30 out of Vasi. You got to give him some playing time, and then I think they'll go from there. If I'm the general manager and I'm looking at the cap, I'm hoping Vasi makes the decision hard. I'm hoping that he plays so well next year that you decide you don't need Bish, and credit to what he's done, but that $6 million comes off the books.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot more flexibility, because the reality of it is after this next year, you've got to deal with other guys. You've got Kucherov's contract coming up. And a year after that, you've got Hedman, you've got Johnson, you've got Palat. So if you can get a young goaltender to play for you and you can cut that salary, that's a big win. I'm sure that's what they're hoping for. We'll see. I mean, you look at Chicago. Chicago's got like 6 free agents this year. They had to win this year.
Brandon
because they've
Saad,
gotta
number
do-
one.
Yeah, they've got to do some serious rebuilding with that team, and there's rumors they may even trade Corey Crawford in the offseason just to make cap room for that
Wow.
team, who played
What?
phenomenally well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the reality of it is there's never been a time in the NHL where there's so many good goaltenders out there. And a lot of teams have proven in the past that you can win with an above-average goaltender versus an elite goaltender.
Provided your defense is solid.
Thank you. So anyway, we spent a long time on hockey here. So let's get out of the hockey. This story was funny to me.
I love stories like this because I've had friends that have made bets that got their, one person got the tattoo of this one team championship, and then the one team that was, both in the finals, but they both got the tattoo, and whoever won had to kind of deal with the tattoo. So this dumbass got a Cleveland Cavaliers 2015 NBA championship tattoo.
He should have got the LeBoner.
Oh, the LeBoner.
I mean,
I told Genevieve about LeBoner. She's a huge LeBron fan.
Oh, is she?
Just LeBron. And the lovely Genevieve. What do we call her?
the
Gorgeous Genevieve.
Gorgeous Genevieve.
I told her about it because she loves her some LeBron. And I told her he had a little boner.
Oh, yeah?
She's like, he's a grower, not a shower. I said, you might be right. Because I'm a grower, not a shower. I look like a Chinaman most other times.
Well, we just learned a little more than we wanted
I look
to
like a
about you today.
circumcised Chinaman. L'chaim.
No, it is funny to me when you hear about these tat stories. And in Tampa, you heard about that, too. Remember the 2 tattoo artists? They were trying to promote atomic tattoos, and they both tatted each
That was
other
them.
with
That was them. You talking about the Tampa and that was
Yeah.
them.
But I will say this: I don't know how much it helped market them.
They were more
because they
acquaintances.
were two of the crappiest looking tattoos I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were bad.
I'm not